Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade.
And I'm Jay Cohn. Florida's governor now demanding answers after at least 8 people died in a nursing home in that state after the nursing home lost power.
Police have opened a criminal case as investigators try to figure out if someone else is to blame besides Hurricane Irma.
Meanwhile, in other parts of Florida, evacuees are returning home to see the destruction left behind.
Omar Jimenez is in the Florida Keys with more.
Oh my God, the roof!
Widespread devastation in the Florida Keys.
You just take every penny you ever had in your life and burn it.
Hurricane Irma flattened homes, uprooted trees, and knocked out power throughout Florida.
If citizens are frustrated, about not being able to get the support they need right now.
Millions still don't have power, including this Hollywood rehab center. Crews evacuated the sweltering facility after finding 3 people dead and others in medical distress. Several others died at the hospital.
We depend on those people in those facilities to care for our most vulnerable elderly population, and it's really sad when something like this goes on.
Authorities are still piecing together what happened.
At this time, we're conducting a criminal investigation into the matter.
In Orlando, fumes from a generator running inside a house killed 3 people. Police are calling the incident a tragic accident.
Just when you think you made it through the storm and whatnot, you got to be ready for anything.
While utility crews work to restore power, they say it may be at least a week until the lights and air conditioning come back on.
We are not resting on our laurels. We are aggressively restoring power, but we are making progress.
In Big Pine Key, I'm Omar Jimenez.
Well, it's been 1 week since Irma first hit the Caribbean and killed at least 37 people.
In St. John, the smallest of the 3 U.S. Virgin Islands, it may represent Irma's worst impact on American soil. Irma struck the island as a Category 5, packing 150-mile-an-hour winds. Residents there lost homes, roofs, vehicles, even schools.
The island's largest town, Cruz Bay, even lost its U.S. Customs office. Nearly every building on the island damaged or destroyed.
Turning to our weather scene, was that really rain making it all the way to the ground here in Billings tonight, Bob?
I went outside and I could take a big whiff and you could smell the dust in the rain. That was kind of nice for a change. Yeah. Of course, there was a little smoke in there mixed in with it as well, but yeah, it was rain tonight. Take a look at this. You can see it on the Doppler radar. You can see the showers as it moved through the Billings area. I think that's about all we're going to get here in Billings for tonight. The big batch of rain comes in sometime tomorrow, but look at how much we got, 0.05 of an inch here in Billings. Livingston, almost a 1/4 inch of rain. So how much more rain are we going to get? Well, according to this computer model, through Friday, about 10 o'clock, we're looking at maybe 1 3/4 inches of rain for Billings, almost 2 at Miles City, a little over 2 at Glendive. And what about snowfall? Well, we still have a winter weather advisory for snow from basically the front range of the Rockies all the way down towards the southwest corner of the state. And in the Beartooth Mountains, we could be looking at maybe 10 to 14 inches of snow above the 7,000-foot level. So a lot of snow in the Beartooths, the Crazies, even the Bighorns. They're finally getting some relief, and it is about time. We'll have rain off and on, that slow, steady stuff right on through into the weekend. We'll have more on that coming your way in a few more minutes.
All right. Thank you, Bob.
Of all the days filled with fire and smoke across Montana, today brought the first all-state air alert this summer.
In fact, it was one of the worst air quality days for Billings, deemed unhealthy by the State Department of Environmental Quality. And the same goes for the communities of Sidney, White Sulphur Springs, Broadus, and Bernie. Active children and adults, people with respiratory issues are all advised to avoid prolonged outdoor exertion.
The Montana Department of Environmental Quality issued an air quality alert for the entire state until 9 a.m. Thursday. Again, this is the first time this year the DEQ has issued a statewide air alert.
Much of the smoke hanging in the Yellowstone Valley today coming from the Blacktail Fire, a fire that's burning in the Crazy Mountains. It's now estimated at 5,000 acres in size.
Gusty winds made it unsafe for aircraft to conduct more accurate mapping today. Q2's David J. joins us now with the latest on that situation. David.
Jeanelle, Jay, the wind is also fueling the fire, making it more difficult for those firefighters. The Blacktail Fire was first reported Sunday afternoon east of Loco Mountain in the Crazy Mountains. As many as 100 firefighters are on scene, with more arriving today on the schedule. Smoke jumpers and a 20-man hand crews on the ground with strike teams of fire engines and heavy equipment are fighting that fire. The lightning caused the fire, and it's burning in timber and snags on steep terrain. No structures are threatened, but the fire is close to ranch land.
The country up in where this fire is certainly funnel that wind and make it even stronger. That steep and rocky terrain is certainly sets up quite a few challenges for the folks that are out there. And that has certainly, hampered what we can do with our firefighters, the country that we can put them in, and the type of line that we can put on the fire.
Erin Fryer says the storm that is in the forecast for tomorrow will bring winds which will add to the challenges for the firefighters. She also says the precipitation will help, but it's not expected to be enough to put out that fire. Jay, Jeanelle?
All right, thank you, David.
Senator Steve Daines focused on fires and forest management at a tele-town hall meeting tonight.
According to the senator, Montana forests have as much as 5 million acres of dead or dying timber.
Senator Daines.
We can reduce the risk, the frequency, the severity of them by better forest management practices, and it ought to be a layup. It ought to be absolutely the easiest thing to say, if you have dead and dying timber, why can't we go in and harvest that timber? One of two things is going to happen. Either we're going to thin those trees out and take them and use them, or it's going to burn. I mean, that's the two choices.
Senator Daines said on September 27th, a Senate committee will hold a hearing on a bill that would reverse by statute a Ninth Circuit Court ruling that halted U.S. Forest Service projects. Senator Jon Tester also supports the bill.
Just this week, the Montana Television Network, MTN, launched the Montana Wildfire Relief Fund, and we're happy to report that viewers across the state have stepped up big.
Through sharing posts on social media and opening up your wallets, more than $48,000 have been donated from the people in 23 states. The impact has reached from coast to coast and even Hawaii and Alaska.
Our parent company says it will match the first $50,000 donated, and we are getting very close to that goal, inching very close. To get involved, we invite you to click on the Montana Wildfire Relief Fund. You can do that at ktvq.com.
In other news tonight, a Billings woman took the stand today to face the man she claims molested her as a child. 37-year-old Josh Burley is on trial in Yellowstone County District Court for 2 felony sex crimes. Burley stands accused of molesting 2 girls in 2010 when the victims were ages 5 and 13. The older victim, now 20, testified today that no one believed her when she disclosed the abuse. Defense attorneys questioned the victim as to whether she was hallucinating from asthma medication when the alleged abuse occurred. The woman gave emotional testimony that she remembers the abuse in horrific detail. The jury will likely get the case tomorrow morning for deliberations.
A student in Washington State is dead after a shooting at a high school this morning. It happened at the high school in Freeman, Washington. That's a small town southeast of Spokane. Officials say 3 teenage girls were also shot. All are in stable condition, one of them undergoing surgery this evening. Witnesses say the shooter was a sophomore boy at the school who apparently rode a bus to school Wednesday with a rifle and a handgun stuffed in a duffel bag. The Spokane Sheriff's Office confirms the suspect student is in custody.
Montana senior U.S. Senator Jon Tester is considered one of the more vulnerable Democratic incumbents heading into the 2018 election cycle.
But Montana Republicans have a long way to go before they pick their nominee to challenge him. Tonight, MTN's Mike Dennison reports on what's looking to be a hard-fought multi-candidate battle.
9 months from now, Republicans will choose their challenger for Democratic U.S. Senator Jon Tester. And 5 men already are hard at it, trying to convince voters they're the one.
We're early in the game. I mean, I would say that we're probably in the 2nd or 3rd inning. And what we're seeing is people jockeying for position, traveling the state back and forth, really trying to drive that name recognition.
That's State Senator Al Olszewski from Kalispell. He was the first Republican officially in the race, starting in April. He's since been joined by Big Sky businessman Troy Downing, Belgrade business owner Ron Murray, and State Auditor Matt Rosendale. And then there's State District Judge Russell Fagg of Billings. He formed an exploratory committee, is raising money, and says he's the best person to defeat Tester, but that he hasn't decided yet whether to run. Rosendale is the likely frontrunner among Republicans, given his status as a statewide office holder. He's picked up endorsements from conservative D.C. groups and says he has a record of tackling tough issues in the state Senate and as state insurance commissioner.
When Matt Rosendale walks in the room, they know he means business. I don't procrastinate. I don't kick the can down the road. We make a decision based on good information, and then we move forward.
Yet Olszewski and Murray say voters are looking for something different than establishment politicians.
It's finally time to find out, okay, who's going to be a candidate that's going to really represent the people? That's great that some of these candidates have these high-name politicians coming out for them. I'm not looking for that.
Murray, who owns a dog kennel and 2 other businesses, has been crisscrossing the state, talking to voters and posting videos on his Facebook page. Olszewski is an orthopedic surgeon and says his life experiences make him a good counterweight to Tester.
My strengths that trump all of them is the fact that, yes, I am an active physician, I'm a state legislator, and I am a veteran that can combine all 3 of those components and those issues in a compassionate first-person story.
And as the GOP candidates start throwing elbows at each other, Tester waits in the wings.
We've got a great record to run on. We're going to focus on making that record even better over the next 15 months. The people will choose whichever man or woman is the right person to run, and we'll run a great straight-up race, and they'll have a solid choice come November of 2018.
Tester also has something else, more than $5 million in his campaign account. And he'll be busy raising a lot more while the Republican hopefuls battle it out for their nomination. In Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
All right, thank you very much, Mike. Well, still to come on tonight's 10 o'clock news, if you're one of the 143 million Americans affected by the Equifax hack, find out what you should do next.
And later, this Billings man has been around since before sliced bread. Today, it's his birthday.
Later in sports, Scott shows us a couple of Montana Cowboys who are tearing it up as the regular season winds down.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Jeanelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green.